Ciao, buongiorno ragazzi.
Wherever you are and whatever time it is in the world, Anthony back with my partner in crime, Bruno, and we're bringing you a special video today. We are going to review the first half of our season. Where did it go right? Where did it potentially go wrong? Because nothing has gone wrong just yet. Don't panic. We're all good. Bruno, start us off on the first two fixtures of the season. You know, a lot of hype, a very so-called successful mercato. Bad start, cuz.
Yeah, so we started the season away against the Swallow. I had the privilege of being at this game live. What a disappointment it was. Swallow is our bogey team, and we succumbed to a Domenico Berardi penalty in the 27th minute, and that was it. We lost 1-0. Our first match.
Whoa, wait 1 sec. Tell me something. When that penalty went in, did you think we even had a hope in hell of qualifying, or did you just know it was done?
I knew it was finished. Game over against the Swallow. Our mind just goes elsewhere.
Yeah.
Let's not dwindle on that because let's go to the next match against Torino, leading 2-0.
Oh.
Not 1-0, 2-0. Ivan Perisic scored his first goal of the season. Stefan de Vrij scored his first goal for Inter end of the season. And then we just collapsed. Halftime comes around and we collapsed. So I just think it was a terrible start, and I'm pretty sure you just thought it was going to be one of those seasons.
I don't want to talk about it, man. I watched that game just before I went to work, and I shit you not, sorry for my language, at 2-1, I knew they were coming back, so we're not dwelling on that. Let's talk about something a little bit more positive, like Raja Nainggolan's debut goal against Bologna. Away to Bologna the next week, we came in knowing we had to get the 3 points. Anything less than a win in that game would have been considered an absolute disaster, in my opinion. So we had Raja Nainggolan scoring the first goal in that one, and if I'm not mistaken, Fantonio Candreva grabbed one as well off the bench. You know, with a little bit to say about his starting position maybe, but that didn't work out as we thought. What was the next fixture after the Bologna win that kicked us off, Bruno?
So we lost to Parma.
Oh.
And that would have to have been one of the most one-sided games I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And I said, we are going to lose this on a counter-attack, and lo and behold.
Who scored it?
Who scored the goal?
Oh, don't say it.
Who scored the goal? You want to know? It was a late goal.
Yeah.
Di Marco.
Of course it was.
It was a nice late goal, 79th minute. Not too late, but it was enough to stop us there. But then our streak started against Tottenham. That beautiful comeback win, our first Champions League fixture in so long. We had Christian Eriksen opening the scoring. We thought it was over. With 4 minutes left in regular time, Icardi scores that stellar goal. And I think that's both of our goal of the season.
Definitely goal of the season. I almost feel bad for smiling now because, as we all know, the results over the 6 games didn't go our way. But at least we'll have some fond memories of our season back.
Before we wrap that one off, I saw it was reminiscent of the Lazio game, the last game of the season. Vecino scoring the winner to take us to 3 points and our first win in as many games in the Champions League.
La Ripresa Vecino has got to be my favourite moment of the season so far. I was so exhilarated, man. So good.
So our winning streak started then, did it not?
It did.
And we went to Sampdoria.
I'll cover Sampdoria, man. I got to tell you what, the game of the VAR. The VAR was there, left, right, center, kick it out, throw it in, throw it behind the grandstand. The VAR was checking everything. I think in the space of the last 5 minutes, we saw Inter go to VAR, disallowed. Sampdoria scores down the other end, disallowed. I get up and get off my couch. I think it's game over. It is not game over. Marcelo Brozovic nets in the last kick of the match. And Luciano Spalletti gets in a little bit of trouble for yelling, yes, at the camera. Not as bad as maybe a certain other coach walking to the fourth official and calling him a dickhead in Italian. But you know what, Luciano, behave yourself, yeah?
So then we travelled to... we hosted Fiorentina.
Good
and
game.
They were our most biggest competitors we had faced so far.
They started off well at the start of the season.
They started off really well, and we're both very cautious at this game. And Icardi scored that first penalty, and then it looked like it was going down the drain again when Skriniar put that own goal in, and it was just that painful. But D'Ambrosio 2-1.
He just knows where to pop up, bro.
He just doesn't. He's not a great player, and I know your opinion is like mine. Vecino, D'Ambrosio, they're not fantastic players.
Yeah, but they've got some perception about them. They've got a little bit of a footballing IQ.
They're there.
Oh, the next game against Cagliari. Now, this was a really enjoyable game for myself. Why? Because these are the kind of games where last season and the season before we're expected to win, and we don't. So when we came up against Cagliari, I think I quoted us on our Facebook and on our site at the time. It was the most professional experience. We got an early goal through Martinez. I don't think it was that early, but maybe like inside the opening 10 to 12 minutes maybe. So we got that goal, and from then, Cagliari didn't look like equalising. That was the main thing. As long as we stayed in control, and if I'm not mistaken, that was Politano's first goal as well, and that was a cracker. I think that was on the Inter list for one of the top 3 or 5 goals of the season. Good game. Moving on.
So we move on. Our second Champions League fixture against PSV.
Cover it.
Came from behind again. From 1-0 down early in the first half. Nainggolan scores for us. We looked good. We looked good. Really good. And Icardi pops up again. He's always there.
Oh, man.
Always there. And then after that,
Spal, away to Spal. At this point in time, Spal were looking pretty tricky as well. Definitely not the relegation fodder Spal that people would have expected. Actually quite a resilient club, getting their name back up there in Serie A. But we were able to grab that win again with goals to Icardi, and I think the other one, yes, both goals for Icardi. So another good win there. As we move on a little bit further, what was next?
the derby.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
The derby. I think we both need to talk about this. Now, the derby is massive.
I lied. That has to be my favourite moment, man. It was better than the Vecino goal. It was so good.
Oh, and just that last minute goal. Vecino crosses it in.
Again, as you said, he's
And
just there.
Icardi just knew where to move, and he headed it in.
That video, that panoramic style video of him losing the defender, I must have watched it. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. Just a little thing I have to say. I confess, it's not the most proud moment, but I was that late for work that day. I left at 92.50. I think the goal went in at about 93.50. So as I got in my car, all I felt was my phone vibrate. I couldn't believe it. I was screaming in traffic. What a day that was.
So that was our 7-game winning streak. And
We'll take a bit of a break now, actually, because we're going to bring you a few statistics from the first half of our season that actually has us leaving feeling pretty good, I must say. So, Bruno, run us through some of the stats that are making us look a little superior.
Yeah, so we've got some decent player stats. So a couple of our players stand out, and in the Serie A, it means something to stand out. Now, you've got Ronaldo popping up on almost every one of these stats.
Beast.
But you've got Marcelo Brozovic has the most accurate passing percentage rate.
No
Now, that
surprises.
says a lot.
Yeah.
He holds that ball, but he also gets that ball to where it needs to go. Then you've got Handanovic, who has the most clean sheets, 10.
There you go. That will silence some serious doubters this season, man. Me included, I gotta say.
Yes, and one of the most impressive statistics is the balls won, possession won in the final third, and Politano actually has dominated that section. Now, moving away from player stats into team stats, Inter has the highest average possession per match at 58.6%.
Nice.
With Juventus not that far behind at all. We have equal first amount of clean sheets. As I mentioned, Handa has the most clean sheets per goalkeeper, but we're equal with Juventus on 10 clean sheets. And possession won in the final third. Politano isn't the only one there, but Inter do lead that there. So
Very nice.
not a bad start, and first half of the season,
Pretty good.
I think we were feeling pretty good.
We were feeling good. Let's move on quickly because we don't want to leave you guys with a huge lengthy video, but we will come across the next half of the fixtures now, leading towards that December period. Not there quite yet. Barcelona in the Champions League, we went down 2-0 at the Nou Camp, didn't we?
Yes.
I'm going to describe this as the perfect loss. We didn't go on to qualify from this group, but this loss did not impact our form in the league detrimentally straight away. It was a great loss because the players could have taken a lot of confidence from losing at the Nou Camp. No one walks out of the Nou Camp losing, kicking themselves in the head, unless you really deserve to win, which, let's face it, not many people do at the Nou Camp.
The next fixture was one of my favourites.
Take it away.
We travelled to face Lazio in Rome, come away with a 3-0 win. Now, this game last season was the most important of our season.
Yeah.
It was the final league match. We had to win to qualify, and we just thought it was going to be the same. But Lazio just did not perform.
Nah, they were shocking on that day. I could not believe it. We ran over them.
Yeah, and Brozovic scored. Icardi scored 2. I just think it was the perfect bounce back from that Champions League loss. And I just think it gave the boys momentum because I was scared. I thought we're going to lose. Then we're going to face Lazio. Can go either way, but that was not our biggest win of the season. Our biggest win,
it came 5-0 against Genoa. Now we need to talk about this just for a little bit because Inter is a team that can't win 5-0. Bruno, if we ever go 3 or 4-0 up again, I'm going to call Spalletti and go call off the attack man. Just call it off. We don't want that 5th goal because we don't want to slip into a pattern. Now, the pattern that followed this was not as bad as last season where I think we beat Chievo 5-0 and then it was disaster from there.
Yeah.
So, the 5-0 game, we'll move on from that, but I think it's just important to note João Mario came back on for the first time in that fixture and blew all our minds, and it's possibly the reason why he looks to be safe from a winter move, and he's staying, and he's back. He's one of us once again.
So, take us away. Our second match against Barcelona.
Good game against Barca in our own home. Look, we weren't that great in the opening 45. I feel like we fell victim to the triangular tiki-taka 1-2-3 great passing that Barcelona can, bring forward. But we did not go down dying in that match. And you know what? Barcelona left it late to grab a goal. We left it even later to grab the equalizer. The only thing that pisses me off is that for the last 4 minutes, we went looking for a winner and we almost got it. And had we did, whatever. Go on.
So you think that the draw against Barcelona would have pushed us? We travelled to Bergamo to face Atalanta and we copped a 4-1 belting. And I'm not going to say much. Brozovic red card. We were 1-1. Icardi scored the penalty.
Worst time
right
for a
after
penalty.
half time. And he scores the penalty. You think we're on par, we're going, but then they just broke away. And it was disgusting. And I'm going to leave it at that because we bounced back against Frosinone.
Good win. That was Keita Balde's game to shine, and he did. He dominated. He showed why on his day he is a great attacker, and I won't move into this because this is something me and Bruno will talk about in another video, but I think that was his first step into redeeming that price tag that we're looking at.
So our final second last Champions League match, Tottenham, we had to win. We needed a draw.
Nah.
And Eriksen.
It was almost as though when that game happened, every Interesta in the world just said, look, we've been here before. We know this. We have one last chance against PSV, but we don't see it going that well. I don't want to talk about Tottenham. What happened after that?
Roma,
the Roma game, we should have stuck that out. I was very disappointed in this match because we played well. We conceded when it was a deserved equalizer, but then we grouped ourselves together and scored again. But what happened was we had a little bit of a meltdown in defense. Brozovic concedes that handball, obviously not intentional, but it was just another mental weak point for us. However, that being said, Roma is not a bottom 3 side. They are not a weak side. To go to the Olimpico and draw 2-2, in hindsight, it's not a bad result. On the day, not the best result, but we move on.
So from the Olimpico, we travelled to Torino, faced Juventus, league leaders, undefeated, and we lose 1-0 to a Mandzukic goal. And it was set up by former Inter player Cancello.
Yep.
I think we played well.
Yes.
But against league leaders, plus we had the final Champions League match against PSV coming up, which...
Yep. Look, we were good against Juve, but Juve were a tiny bit better. And if we were against any other team in the league, we would have won that game. It just serves to show who the leaders are, unfortunately. The PSV game, we won't go too much into that. We all saw what happened. We saw our mental fortitude crumble as only we know how. Needed to win to guarantee a spot. Couldn't rely on Barcelona as nobody should. They did the right thing. They were on 9 points after 3 games. They were qualified. It's not up to them to make sure we're safe. You've got to take care of your own. Clean your own room.
Yeah, and then we hosted Udinese and bounced back from being knocked out of the Champions League to an Icardi penalty. It wasn't a great display.
Great penalty, but
it was a great penalty. It was a fantastic penalty. Now, the match which you were very positive, I was very skeptical. Cover it.
bro, Chievo spells everything that's wrong with Inter in the December period. And now, you know what? I'm not that pissed off now because that was the only blip. If that result, the 1-1, triggered a domino effect, then we would have really been looking at here and ruining that Chievo game. But we sit here, me and Bruno, not that upset today. Why? The Napoli game followed that. Bruno was speaking to me after the Napoli game. I don't think I've ever heard him that excited in my life.
I was crying, I was laughing, I was smiling, I was lacking sleep. We hosted Napoli, second place. We were happy with a draw. We were happy to get some points out of it.
But we dominated it.
And we dominated it. It was marred by racism and it was marred by after the match spectacles, which as an Interista, we're not fans of. We don't support racism and we stand by anyone who is subject to that. But in the end, we did have 2 red cards for Napoli. We did get that winner there through Martinez in the dying.
Love those scenes of him running to that corner flag, man. That was mad.
And we wrapped up the season against Empoli away.
The most boring match of the season so far, no doubt. But you know what? Last season, it would have been boring and we would have conceded in the 94th. Another week in December last season, it would have been boring and we would have conceded in the 95th. But you know what? We came away with 3 points before the winter break and I shut it off after that. That's it. Clean. Done.
Yeah, and look, we're going to wrap it up. We don't want it to be too long, but let's just look at this table. Inter are on 39 points. They're 5 points behind Napoli in second. They are 7 points ahead of Lazio. Now, Inter haven't been performing the best, but everyone else below them are not being consistent.
Very inconsistent.
They're making the top 2, the top 3 look a lot better than what they are.
Oh, big time. The gap between Juventus and the rest of the league is huge. I would even go as far to say we may have dominated them over the 90 minutes, but consistently over 38 games, I think Napoli have got the consistency over us. We'll see how it pans out towards the end of the year, but as Bruno said, the gap in quality this season, there's a bit of a gulf there, that's for sure.
Okay, so who was your star performer this first half of the season?
We had some real standouts, man. De Vrij on a free transfer is the steal of the century for this club. Skriniar continues to be the best wall since the Great Wall of China. Brozovic has to do so much work. He has to compensate in that double pivot role so much, which is why his stats are so impressive. But you know what? Capitano Mauro, he's just there, bang, bang, and he's perfect in my eyes, Bruno.
He's perfect. I would have to go Honda. He has kept us in the game many times. Inter released recently the top saves of 2018.
Oh, electric, man.
Some of them against the competition we had. There was the Rakitic save. He's against Milan. He kept us in. I just think he has kept us where we are meant
100%.
to be. And when we haven't won and we've drawn, he's kept it at a draw rather than a loss.
Yeah.
But Icardi has been putting them in. Balde, I just think we need to redeem that.
I think we do too, and you know, we'll do a bit more of a transfer exclusive towards the end of the Mercato in terms of our options of selling players to get the redemption fees, but that'll come at another time. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the first half of the season. I hope you've enjoyed the first half of the season from us. We've really enjoyed bringing you this first half of the season, and we are not going anywhere, so I hope you guys are not as well. From Bruno and myself, Forza Inter, guys. Ciao.
Forza Inter.